What's going on, guys? My name is Quack, and if you're on the fence about owning backyard chickens, today I'm going to dive into what I think are some of the most important pros and cons in being a backyard chicken dad or mom. It goes both ways, right? Pro number one of the biggest advantages to caring for backyard chickens is that you get fresh organic eggs daily. Think about it. If you had to choose between eating store-bought eggs versus eggs that you get from your backyard, I think most people are going to choose backyard organic eggs. Not only do they taste better than store-bought eggs, but caring for chickens can be a self-sustainable way to reduce or eliminate your egg bill. Now notice I said egg bill as in singular, not plural. But I'm going to touch more on that later on when I talk about the cons and some of the financial stuff. More on pro number one though. You also won't risk dealing with potential recalls that you might get from buying store-bought eggs. And there was also a study that was conducted for the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA. I'm sure you guys have heard of that. But there was a study for USDA, and that study found that most eggs from the farms do not arrive to the packaging facility till around 3 to 4 days old. And the rest of those eggs may not even get to the store till about 3 to 4 weeks later. Then when the eggs do arrive to the grocery stores, the stores have an additional 30 days from beyond the packaging timestamp to sell those eggs. I couldn't find any information on the timing it takes from the farm to the packaging facility to the stores, but I imagine it all depends on the destination that the eggs are being shipped to. And if you do a little bit of math on the things that I just said, your store-bought eggs could be up to 60 plus days old by the time those eggs get to your house. On top of that, we really don't even know how clean those eggs are by the time they leave the packaging facility. So, as far as a chicken dad goes, I'm happy knowing exactly where my eggs came from, and I'm confident that what I'm eating doesn't get any more fresh than that. Pro number two, chickens are known for their ability to reduce pests in your yard, and it can turn your yard or your garden into a more environmentally friendly space. They love to eat all kinds of insects like ticks, ants, maggots, mosquitoes, worms, spiders, flies. I mean, pretty much anything that they can put their mouths at and peck at and fit into their mouths, they're gonna eat it. I've even heard of chickens eating rats and mice if they're small enough. And I am gonna warn you though, when you let your chickens free range in your backyard, they don't give a shit about how nice your garden looks, okay? If you have a nicely planted garden, you might want to steer your chickens away in a different direction before they start messing it all up. They love to forage for insects, and that's basically what they do. So it's a good and bad thing, but just kind of keep that in mind that they will ruin whatever nicely planted garden that you have, all for the sake of eating up all the yummy protein insects like your ticks and your maggots and your flies and so on and so on. Pro number three, caring for backyard chickens can be super therapeutic. And they make wonderful companions. They all individually come with unique personalities that can add joy and entertainment to your life. Now, I used to think chickens were pretty dumb animals, but ever since I became a chicken dad, thanks to my wife, and I think a lot of you chicken dads can relate to this, but I've realized that they're actually far from dumb. They can distinguish between different individuals in a family household, and they can even show signs of remorse when a flock member dies. They can remember certain events, and they are just a lot more intelligent than most people give them credit for. Pro number four, if you have young children, then involving them into the daily chicken care is super valuable to them. It teaches your kids about some of the basics of farm life. Well, in my case, limited to just the backyard farm life, of course. Is there such thing as backyard farm life? I think there is. That's gotta be. That is definitely a thing, a backyard farm life. But my point is, it gets them outside and active rather than having them play video games inside the house all day. So yeah, if you have children and if you're building a coop with a run, you know, involve your kids and your spouse to, you know, you'll spend good quality time with them. So let's talk about some of the cons. because there are going to be some challenges that you might want to consider before starting your flock. So let's talk about it. Con number 1, caring for chickens require daily care. It requires daily feeding, cleaning, healthcare monitoring, which might be a bit of a time commitment for busy individuals. You're going to want to make sure that they have adequate food and clean water daily. This means you're going to need to go outside every single morning or night and make sure you replenish the feed and the water. And then, depending on the litter method, the caca and poo-poo cleaning, depending on your litter method, you could be going outside to clean the coop every other day, maybe weekly, bi-weekly, or even monthly. And I've even heard some people go as long as several months without cleaning their coop using the deep litter method. But I do prefer to clean my coop more often than that, and that works for me. But there are different methods to this, and you're going to have to figure out what works for you. For me, I use hemp bedding for my coop, so I'm cleaning the poop in my coop at least once a week. And I replace most of the bedding monthly, and that works for me. Inside my run, I am using sand, and that works well for me too. Unfortunately, with the litter method, there is no one-size-fits-all when it comes to the litter method. You're gonna have to figure out what works for you, because not everyone's backyard or area where they plan to keep the chickens are the same. Now, there are automated methods that you can use to alleviate some of the daily tasks, but that does make a good segue into my con number 2. Con number 2, owning backyard chickens can initially be costly. Sorry guys, they don't qualify for Section 8 housing, which means their government would be you. This means you're going to want to invest in building or buying a chicken coop. And if you can, make sure to include a run with your coop. That way they're not stuck inside their coop all day. Some of the bells and whistles that you can add are automated chicken coop doors. You can buy a big chicken feeder that holds at least 25 plus pounds of chicken feed. Of course, that all depends on how many chickens you have. I have 6, so I have a 25 pounder. I go out there at least maybe once a week, maybe, and that works for me, instead of having to refill my feed every single day. Another bell and whistle that you can add is a large waterer or an automated watering system. There are different routes that you can go with and limiting the need to refill your water daily. Like right now I have this rinky-dinky waterer, and I do need to fill it up every single day. But I do have plans to automate my watering system, or at least get some kind of bigger bucket and have some kind of system where I don't have to go out and fill the water every single day. But that's a future video, so look out for that. You can also add solar or electricity hookup to your coop and run. You can install an electrical system that directly connects to an independent breaker from your house into your chicken coop. That's actually a project that I'm currently working on, and I'll share that video once it's ready. So the other thing you can also have as a bell and whistle, so to speak, is if you have an established coop and run like I do, in the future, you might even consider increasing the size of your run. That's actually a current project that I have going on as well. So definitely you'll want to check out that video once it's ready. So my overall point to con number 2 is that it's so fucking easy to spend over $1,000, guys. And this is also bringing home my point to pro number 1, where caring for chickens only eliminates your egg bill, okay? The money spent for everything else far exceeds the monetary value of just the eggs that you get. The overall price you pay for everything else other than the eggs, the food, the maintenance, the time, the coop build, in my opinion, it was all worth it. And I'm going to explain why doing all this is worth it when I conclude my message at the end of this video. Con number 3, the noise and odors are important factors you're going to want to think about when caring for backyard chickens. Chickens can be quite vocal. When chickens eat, they don't use bibs or napkins, so they can be freaking messy. The poop and the mess that they make are an invitations to all kinds of rodents and predators. But as long as you keep up with the maintenance of cleaning and predator pest proofing your coop, this typically shouldn't be an issue. Con number 4, you want to be a chicken mom or a chicken dad, but what are some of the legalities surrounding the care of chickens? Just because you want chickens doesn't mean you can have them. Depending on where you live, there are laws and regulations that restrict and regulate caring for backyard livestock. Some cities and towns are more lenient than others. Typically, if you live in an area that's zoned for agriculture, these areas are typically livestock friendly. But if you live in a more urban, suburban area, the city laws and regulations are more restricted. Now, the restrictions don't always mean you cannot care for chickens at all, but it may mean that you are limited to how many chickens you can have, if you're even allowed to have roosters, or even restrict how big you can have your chicken coop. But what if you live in an HOA community, homeowners association? All that depends on the list of rules that you've signed. Even if your town ordinances allows for the care of chickens, you might run into some legal challenges if your HOA says otherwise. Overall, you're gonna wanna make sure you do your research to make sure you are good to care for chickens legally. Now, in conclusion, weighing out these pros and cons can help you decide if backyard chickens are the right fit for you. If you want them as pets, that's great, go get them. They make great companions. If you want them for food, that's great too. They taste amazing. I love eating chicken. But my point is this, the initial cost is pretty pricey, but you have to weigh out what is it worth for you, okay? Is the initial cost worth the fresh organic eggs that you put into your body? To me, it definitely was. To me, having fresh organic eggs and knowing where my eggs come from is very important for me, and it's important that I feed my family amazing and tasty, delicious eggs. At least, that's what I tell myself. Thank you. Take care. Bye. I hope the list of pros and cons help you guys make a decision on whether or not if caring for backyard livestock is worth it for you. Okay? Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.